Welcome to Second Listen Saturday on the Parenting Roundabout podcast, where we share some fun moments from a past episode for your weekend listening pleasure. Look for new episodes every Monday through Friday. How stressed out are your kids these days, whether they have the flu or not? Are they feeling stressed? Nicole, how's this? We've established the flu level in your household. How's the stress level? And would you rather have the flu?
Let me just say one thing, and then you can gauge the stress level for yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
SAT.
So, code red, in other words.
Code red. We are talking alert levels are high, stress levels are extreme. The emergency preparedness is ready to go at any second. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We really didn't do her any favors by sending her to Canada at this time.
Oh, yeah.
Because she came back and has had to do a lot of homework, but on top of that, has started taking SAT classes to prepare for the March sitting date. And let's just say her book that she's studying from is over 1,000 pages long.
Oh, my.
Yikes.
Yeah, so the teachers at her school are not lightening or letting up on the homework. And it's just so frustrating because they're offering free sitting of the SAT for all the juniors in the school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like there's only a handful of kids that are taking this, and they're not catering to the time demands that these kids have, and it's actually really infuriating.
Yeah.
I have to say, I mean, kids don't need to be this stressed out at this point in their life.
No,
they got a lifetime of it. And it's really bad. I mean, she doesn't handle stress well to begin with.
Yeah.
So the other night, she just had a huge meltdown, and I don't know, I'm just kind of trying to figure out how to keep her head above water. I don't ever recall being this stressed about school, and it's sad. I mean, I know she's not the only one. I talked to other moms about, what's happening with their kids, but it's just a really challenging time. So I'm in need of some advice, some anti-stress techniques.
Here's how you reduce the SAT stress. You say, you know what? You're just going to go to a community college. Forget all this crud, which is what I did. And then you don't have to worry about it at all. Then
you don't have to deal with it. But they're making, I don't think they're making the kids, but they're really pushing it. And it's like, not every kid is set up for this, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and then it would be nice if they would acknowledge it by letting up on the homework leading up to it.
And it would be nice if they just acknowledge that not every child is destined to go to Harvard and Stanford. And because these are the expectations that these kids are being fed, that, you have to do really well on the SAT because the scores for the entrance, the average scores they're almost unattainable. It's like,
your whole future rests on this test. Right. No pressure.
Yes.
Right.
No pressure, but
don't forget this homework.
Literally just look at the score. I mean, there's a few other little things that they look at, but it really is a lot of the score that it's based on. So anyway, how about I don't know, I'm just what do you do with your kids when they're stressed? I just don't. I mean, I've got a little organizer for. I mean, she has a planner which she uses, but I don't know. It just seems like she has no time in the day for any kind of de-stressing.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
suggestions
I'm not
are
a
welcome.
good advice giver on this. Maybe Catherine has some stuff because I'm on a whole different stress track. My kids were on a whole different stress track. They didn't have that particular kind of stress. Although, certainly our high school was very, as we've discussed before, all kids go to college. So they were getting that message, but I was shutting that down pretty quick. I mean, they did go to community college, which maybe wasn't even necessary. A vocational training thing might have been better, but they did go to college, but they didn't deal with the SATs. That's basically my stress relief, is just, we're taking that off your plate. Fine. But there certainly have been other stressful things that are much more difficult to deal with. And I have no advice on those. So, Catherine, as your daughter deals with the typical high school stress, do you have, like, great cures?
Not really. I mean, she's a year behind Kristen, so she is not having to take.
Folks will be talking about the same thing this time next year.
Your future,
it'll be coming. So yeah, and she's just now sort of starting to think like, oh, college. You know, I'm wondering where I want to go, and for her, it's also skating. You know, do I want to skate in college? And if so, what does that mean in terms of where I go and whether I can? So then it's, can I get into the school and can I make the team? So it's like a nice combination platter. So, you know, and she definitely gets stressed before she competes. And she will just tell me and tell her coaches, like, I can't do it. I won't do it. I'm not going to do it. I can't. And, you know, we just have to keep talking her down and be like, you know, it doesn't matter how you do. And it's just for the experience and all that kind of baloney, you know?
Right.
Like, just try it. So, yeah, I mean, she didn't used to be that way either. She used to just skate right out there and love competing and love, you know, tryouts and tests and all that stuff. And that has definitely changed. So we're still working on how to manage it. You know, and the weird thing is, like, with this flu that she has, 2 nights ago, she was supposed to be skating. You know, she had lessons and practice time and whatever, like she always does. And she was, like, uncontrollably and inexplicably crying at the rink. And I was like, what is going on? Like, you know, I had to drive her there. It was, like, freezing rain. She had a friend over after school and she was totally fine. And then she got there and she just cried and she missed her lessons and then she got sick. So then I was like,
it comes on really fast like that.
It came. That was an indicator that was about to happen. You know, we realized after the fact, of course. But, you know, I was, like, at a loss as to how to, you know, help her or how to deal with the crying because she couldn't explain what was causing it, you know?
Right.
So, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, things like you said, Terry, taking stuff off the plate when you can,
I
think helps. I mean, it certainly isn't possible all the time.
No.
But, you know, I feel like neither of my kids do a lot of chores, and, you know, my 15-year-old doesn't have a job unless she's teaching Learn to Skate for an hour a week or whatever. And sometimes, like, oh, you know, she really should have a job and she should do more at home. But then, like, when would she do that? You know, it would just... I don't know when it would happen. And it would just cause... I feel like it would cause more stress than it's worth.
Yeah. I mean, and then there's always the quandary with the taking stuff off their plates. I mean, if they're stressed over something, there's the temptation to do that. But then you come to, when do we make them tough it out?
Yeah.
And when do we say, this is not worth the stress?
Right.
I always had a hard time with that because I was usually, you know, putting my kids in things, saying, this will be good for you. Mm-hmm. Go and do this thing. And they weren't always happy about it, but I wanted them to do it for a reason. So then it's like, am I making them do this horribly stressful thing for no good reason, for my own ego? Should I just pull them out of it, let them quit, or is it important? And I don't feel like I always struck a good balance on that. Mm-hmm. It's very easy when it's somebody else's stress to say, you can do it. Right. It's fine. And then when it's my own stress, it's like, everybody has to do things for me because I just can't take it. So it's hard. It's my son in particular is very inscrutable on this topic. I will find out later that he was under terrible stress or that he was very upset about something, but he doesn't necessarily fill me in.
Right.
So then you're just kind of going by guesswork, and maybe you took away the thing that was not stressful that was good, and you left the thing that was. It's very confusing. I just feel like putting my head down when we talk about this topic. I'm getting stressed.
Well, I feel like my son is obviously my dog.
We need to talk about dog stress some week.
Yeah.
My dog is stressed frequently.
Yeah, the only way I'll alleviate her stress is if I give her food.
Walks in our house, I think, would do it.
Yeah. My son doesn't express his stress level until the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my daughter...
And then you're like, well, now I can't,
steam.
There's nothing I can do, when it gets...
Right.
Yeah.
Except eat myself up with regret over having not known anything.
Right, I know.
Thank you, son.
So guilty and so bad that I didn't clue in to begin with. And I don't know. So, yeah, taking things off her plate. She also went and bought some of these, this like aromatherapy kind of thing that you kind of roll onto your neck. It's like and like kind of, I don't know, it's supposed to calm you down.
Yeah, we've actually done some of that too. Like when she was struggling with anxiety, and she would have like stomach pains, and I got her some essential oils in the idea of like can't hurt might help,
Yeah.
Exactly.
And she, believes in it. So,
Right.
So that helped for a while.
We've done like guided relaxation exercises too, which seem like a good idea to me, but don't seem to work with my kids. So,
and I kind of sometimes like I assume that she can handle it on her own.
oh yeah,
And like I recognize that she's stressed, but I kind of think, okay, well, she's got all the tools that she needs in order to deal with it. But then sometimes she just needs me to be there to guide her through it. So it's kind of like guided.
You're the guide in the guided meditation.
Yeah, the de-stressing.
Yeah.
So, it's really challenging right now. I just, our house is quite stressed. Yeah. And then I just kind of said, we just have to kind of pick and choose, right? Like what's important and what at this time and what isn't. So
that's hard.
It is. And I
also have used bribery.
Well, there you go.
Like our high school offered the PSAT, and I wanted my daughter to take it just as a practice, which is what it's for.
Right.
Just see what it's like. No stakes, just try it. And she was freaking out about having to do it. I'm not doing it. Don't make me.
Gosh.
And finally I was like, take the test, and afterwards I will take you out of school and take you to lunch.
Nice.
It worked. She did it. I ended up taking her and 3 of her friends out to lunch. Like, their parents were calling the attendance person while I was in the office saying, like, yes, I'm taking them. And because they had taken the test too. And, once she knew that other people were doing it, that helped.
Right.
And then she'd done it. And afterwards she admitted, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
So when the SAT comes, at least she's had that experience. I mean, obviously it is a big difference when it's for real, but at least I can say, like, remember, you didn't want to take the BSAT and you got through it. So
I mean, maybe our school's in a bubble because these kids, they don't even question these tests. Like, it's not even an option to not take them. It's like, we have to, they studied for the PSAT. Like, how
right.
You're not supposed to really do that.
No.
It's just a benchmark, right, of where you're at. But the academic expectations are it's just so high stakes. And
right. And it's really hard for you as one person to combat that.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can talk until you're blue in the face about, like, you don't need to go to a school that requires you to have this certain score, but when she's getting it from everywhere else, you know. I
mean, when she's hearing that, you know, these kids are already been taking the SAT for the last 6 months to prepare, and in her SAT class, there are 7th graders.
Oh, my goodness.
7th graders. Kristen's like, they don't even know how to use the calculator. That's required.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we're just living in this really weird little space that these kids are expected to perform so high. But you're right about the whole college thing. I mean, there's a very there's certain feelings about certain types of schools.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you get judged very harshly. Depending on where you want to go.
I feel like we know more now about stress. Stress is such a big topic. You would think that the schools could find some ways to, like, not make teenagers crazy with stress. You know, maybe they do like what you did, Catherine, only on a more formal basis. You get done with this test, you get a pizza party. Or, you know, we're gonna, after your study period for this, you know, we're going to do a guided meditation and we're going to do some yoga in the gym or something, you know, have some, number one, not set up the crazy expectations in the first place. And number two, acknowledge that this takes a toll and, you know, cut back on the dang homework.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's needless.
I don't understand why they can't see. And then they're surprised when kids snap and have problems.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Right.
I don't know this.
I think I told, like with our school in particular, I think I told you this before. There's 500 kids in her class.
Yeah.
And so in her rank, like in terms of her grade, her GPA, she has a 4.1, but she places 105 out of 500 kids with a 4.1.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like 104 other kids have higher than a 4.1.
Right.
Like, how do you even... That's the norm. So how do you even work around that? You know, and all her, you know, her friends are trying to, you know, achieve those levels. So she's just constantly surrounded by
that's
this
a
high
culture that
stakes,
needs to go away.
high pressure situation. So I tried taking her to a massage therapist. That helped a little bit because she was getting lots of headaches.
Yeah. What's the deal in Canada, Nicole? Do they have these tests there, and will it matter if she wants to get into a college there?
No, because she went and did a tour 2 weeks ago when she was up there, which was like the best thing ever for her because she realized that not every university in the whole world has the same expectations.
Yeah.
They've pretty much done away with standardized testing they had for years, and they base it on grades, and then you kind of build a portfolio over your school years of like your accomplishments and your activities.
Well, that's its own kind of pressure, but
yeah, it does. It certainly does.
A little healthier,
but it's not all based on this one score, right? Like this one snapshot in time. It's like over 4 years of
well, does that ease her worry a little bit, or does she have other places she's thinking she might want to go?
Yeah, so when she talked to the admissions counselor up there, they did say that they do look at the, for American students, they do look at the SAT score, but it's not weighted as heavily as their grades.
Yeah.
So she was quite relieved to hear that.
I'll bet.
And so it definitely is an option for her, not just because of not needing to feel the pressure for the SAT, but she loves the school. So it definitely is an option for her. But, you know, I just think like there are other ways of doing it. I mean, it doesn't need to be this intense.
Do kids talk about and compare their SAT scores?
Oh, yeah. It
should be like
right away.
Money and politics. You don't talk about it.
Right.
I mean, as soon as it's released, it's, you know, the kids are all comparing notes. And so, maybe, I don't know, hopefully this will just really pass quickly.
Well, give her a hug from us.
Yeah.